Hello, what's up? I am your favorite Leo, Love from a Leo, and today's video is going to be about ancestor altars because I know that you guys have been wanting to, have a video on ancestor altars, and I'm not sure if you guys are beginners or you're just curious about the topic, or if you're experienced and maybe you just wanted to see more or learn more, like things that you didn't know to begin with. So I'm going to try to encapsulate all three of those things in this video, but of course I can always make deeper videos in certain places on or certain parts of the topic of ancestor altars or any other videos. If you feel like you have a question on it, just make sure you leave the comment down below, and I can get back to that video, or I can start a video suggestion topic thing and we can go from there. But for ancestor altars, today that is the video. And what an ancestor altar is basically a physical and tangible way to give thanks, communicate, and also remember those from your ancestry, or maybe people that you or your deities, people that you manifest to help get guidance or anything of that nature when it comes to the spiritual world. So for me personally, I've never tried to connect or communicate with people that have passed in my family, like immediate people or anything like that. But what I focused on was deities and my ancestors from from the beginning of my bloodline, basically on this earth. So, being that I kind of know a little bit about my background, I was able to kind of narrow down things or traditions, so to speak. If you're not sure, if you can't really figure out what your background is because of certain historical mishaps, then really just tap into yourself and just start with the basics. You can start with your grandparents. You can start with maybe the place that you know that you're from, like the country itself or anything of that nature, just to connect. So, and we're all one, so you really don't need much to be able to tap into it, but you do need to have the intent, and you also need to have the direction that you want to go in. So do your research so you don't do anything that could be considered offensive, or maybe just stuff that you just shouldn't do because it can conjure up the wrong things of that nature. Make sure you're doing your research, as with anything of magic. But what I like to do is I work really well with colors, so like candles and crystals, and I make sure that I have whichever, and incense of course too. So I make sure that I have all of those going into alliance with like what it is that I'm trying to connect to. So if I always have my white and black candle, no matter what type of thing I'm doing, whether it's spell work, whether it's communication with ancestors, whether it's meditation, I always have at least those two candles because I use that as my protection for anything in any dimension that uses vibrational things. You can still, you know what I mean, like the vibrational will show through the color will show through the vibrational, vice versa. So I use that as my protection. And I also usually have at least 2 or 3 crystals. I know for sure I usually always have my clear quartz or smoky quartz there on the altar. And then depending on what it is that I'm trying to work on that day or that moment, I'll have a corresponding crystal for that as well. You also want to make sure that and that's just what I do, but you also want to make sure that you always, always, always have a white candle no matter what you're doing, just for protection purposes. And you also have to have the 4 elements on this earth, the 4 basics. So you want to have something that represents air. You want to have something that represents water, which would be water. You want to have something that represents earth itself, like some dirt maybe, or roses. I always have flowers for my elemental for the earth. I always have flowers because I connect with flowers really well, and they look nice. And you also want to make sure you have some type of offering, so to speak, for whoever you're trying to connect to or whatever you're trying to connect to, just to show like, especially if you're working with deities, like some orishas call for certain things, like for Oshun, you want to make sure you have, well, I always have a white, black, and yellow candle. Yellow representing her colors, which are for sunshine, joy, love, beauty, the things of that nature. And I also make sure that I have honey, and you have to try the honey because legend goes she was poisoned before with honey. So you always want to make sure, out of respect, that you taste the honey for her and leave it there for her during your meditation practices and anything of that nature. So I'm not going to go too deep into like what type of rituals that I do for certain things. I can do that in other videos, but I use that as an example. So you always want to make sure you have something, anything that makes you feel like you're having the building blocks to be able to communicate to the higher thing. Make sure you have it there, because everyone's different, and we all know, as witches or anything, any spiritual type of workers, we all have our different ways of doing things. So for me, I always have to make sure I have my elementals, my candles, my incense to represent air, and also just to kind of give me in that mood. And I sometimes I'll even have most of the time I'll have some type of binaural beats or sacred drummings. My heritage is African American, Native American, and Cuban. So what I like to do is I'll have any type of drummings from maybe ceremonies, or maybe some type of anything that'll get me to feel the ancestral feelings and from this lifetime, you know what I mean? So anything that can connect me to my past, or what I am right now in this lifetime as far as race and ethnicity, I usually try to tie that in, because I think that's very powerful, and it really invokes everything from within. Especially if you're an earth sign, it really helps to do things like that, because you can tap into your earthly self, if that makes any sense. So yes, having any type of ancestral connecting type of things, even if you can't, if you're not sure, if you feel a connection towards a certain race, or you feel a connection to certain traditions or a certain type of people, and you know, not for dumb reasons, but for actual like connections towards it, you want to make sure you invoke all of those things, because the more strength you have as far as like connecting, and the beats for your third eye, and things of that nature to really open up your chakras, the better, because then you can, it's like having a better reception, so that whatever you're trying to communicate to can really hone in on you and be of service, and you can become acquainted with them. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about with ancestor altars, deity altars, anything of that nature. Treat it as if they are here with you. It is a memorial, but not of the dead. It's a memorial of being, it's like a window to be able to go to the other dimensions and receive knowledge from the other dimensions. So you don't want to have it to where you're mourning them. You might have pictures of certain people there, but it's not a mourning. It's you talking. They're not physically here, but the dimension that they work on is vibrational. So anything that you think, anything that you can speak, anything that you can do to make it more clear for whatever you're trying to connect to, the better. So you want to sit down, you want to talk normal, and it might feel weird to talk out loud, but you have to realize that we're not the only dimension in this, in this plane or whatever. Like, it's really selfish and arrogant to think that way. So just because you can't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. And not to creep you guys out, but everything works on vibration. So you really want to make sure that you're saying what you want. You really want to make sure your intent is pure, so that you don't have any mixes in the communication. You don't have any offensive anything's going on. You really want to focus on talking to your ancestors, because when you think about it, if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be here. So in a weird way, we are them, because we are reincarnations. Well, not reincarnations, I don't want to say that, but we are we're descendants of things that started from way back then, but we're here now. So it's like you're talking to people that made you. It's your family, it's your DNA, it's your ancestry, it's your bloodline. So you want to be able to talk. And the good thing about ancestor altars are, sometimes if you speak to deities, they don't really care about your earthly challenges, because they're already on a higher plane, being gods and things. So whenever you talk to your ancestors, it's a really good way to basically have like that auntie there to help you, or your uncle there to give you advice, but without the awkwardness that you would have with your parents if you want to talk about something, So it's like you get to be able to be shameless and really speak your truth and really ask for the things that you need, but it's people that have been here before. So it's really comforting, and it's really helpful to know that the things that you can offer can be things that you yourself like to indulge in now. So if you smoke cigars, I'm Cuban, so I'll usually have like tobacco or some type of cigar present on my altar, just to to give to make sure that the people that I'm reaching out to have that memory of the tobacco aroma. And like, you want to make it to where they want to come to you. Not to say you're bribing them or anything, but you want them to come to you and have that relationship. Make it feel open. Make them feel like they're back at home. A lot of people have like rum or some type of alcohol on the altar, but not a lot. Just like a cap full or something like that, just to represent life and just to represent the human life and the funs of being human. And also, it's offerings, you know. So anything of that nature, anything that you feel like resonates with your people or resonates with you, if you feel like you're getting more activity in your house that you maybe weren't at first, and you feel like you're making connections doing what you're doing, and if it's not something that I was saying, then keep doing what you're doing, and if it's working, and sooner or later you'll see, you know, things are different. You'll start feeling presence more, and it's a beautiful thing, you guys, and it's really something you should cherish, and it's not something that you do when you need something. You don't just talk to them whenever you need something. You come to them and you make a relationship and you try to stay there. You know what I mean? You want to build the relationship. You don't just use them whenever you need something to happen right away. But you can, once you build a relationship, you can help them. You can ask them for help whenever you do need them in the time of need. So it's really a helpful relationship to have. It's a wonderful thing to have, and it's family. You know what I mean? And sorry, and it's something that people should cherish, and it's not something you should just do once every year. If you really are serious about this, you have to be consistent with it. So what I like to do is whenever I meditate, I kind of add those elements in, and I'll incorporate my ancestor altar with my meditation. So that way I'm connecting with them. They're here with me during my meditation. My higher self is looking down on me because they were me at one point. I was them at one point because they were passed down, you know what I mean? So anything that can make it stronger. If you have a cat, you want to make sure that your pet is there with you, because you know, dogs and cats are very pure and they're innocent, and it always helps to have something like that around you. Whenever you're doing any type of ritualistic things, or maybe spells that you want to happen, you always want to have an extra boost of witness. So yes, I'll have my cat there, and you know, cats are very intuitive when it comes to spiritual things because they're very, very powerful animals. And of course, I'm a Leo, so of course I'm gonna have my cat there when I'm doing things of that nature. And yeah, like I said, you guys, you really just want to connect, and it doesn't have to be specific. It can be the whole collective consciousness if you really wanted to. When it comes to ancestor altar work, anything that connects you to a higher self, a higher being, a higher person, a higher deity that you want to connect with and you want to build a relationship with, don't be afraid to call out to them, but make sure you're being safe about what you're doing, and make sure your intentions are pure. And it doesn't mean you know, not good or bad. When I say pure, I mean pure as in make sure it's something that you're actually wanting to do, because once you do things, you can't really go back. And even if you can, the consequences usually has already been done. What's done is done. So yeah, you guys, I think that's all I wanted to cover on ancestor altars. If you have any more questions about them, or if you have things that you wanted me to talk about more in detail on another video, let me know down below in the comment section. And I think that's all I wanted to say, you guys. I'll come back on when I feel the need to talk about something else. And if you have any suggestions on other video topics that you would like me to talk about, and if I know what I'm talking about when it comes to it, I would definitely put out a video for you guys. All you have to do is ask, or all you have to do is let me know. And yeah, I hope we can keep sharing knowledge, and I hope I can keep showing you guys you know, my occult mind, and hopefully I can get in more into astrology for you guys. But this is an everyday thing for me. I'm really taking this channel serious as far as putting out information and building a community with my channel. And I'm just, you know, I'm happy to help. So whenever you guys let me know that this video helped, or this video is something that you needed to see, or maybe it helped guide you into something that you needed to get for your to further your magical journey, I love it, you guys. I really do. So let me know how you guys are. Let me go, you know, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in my Amino, because I'm always active on there. I do readings, just to let you guys know, but I'll talk about that in another video. So if you do want a reading, just let me know. And yeah, I think that's it, you guys. I will see you guys the next one. Adios. Love from a Leo. Bye.